Good evening, Texas bikers and bikers all across the nation. This is Texas Biker Radio number 374. The third time is a charm. This is Butch Popeye Moss and Mel OG Robbins. Mel is talking to you via telephone. The modern it's modern day technologies at work here. And it don't always work out, does it, OG?
No, it doesn't. It seems to change from week to week.
it's uh it's always something. And for those of you who don't know, we had a problem with the echo in the phones and the mics and all this other stuff this morning, and we've been trying to figure it out all day. We think we've got it figured out, so hopefully we can go through the whole show and not have
Rot's a
any
ruck.
glitches. Well, Mel, let's get started about. Oh man, let's get started about the Fort Worth Police Chief Ed Kraus, who had a press conference yesterday afternoon, and uh, he said that hey, don't blame the 1,700 other Fort Worth police officers for the actions of one. Now, now, Mel, I heard that about 3 years ago from Sheriff Bill Wayburn when I was talking to him about the number of police officers that are arrested across the land each and every year. And, he said, well, you can't, uh, has it that said, Mel, with, well, you can't have one bad apple spoil the whole batch. That's when I said to him, well, exactly, Sheriff. And here we are now, 3 years later. I mean, we've had a murder in Dallas by a police officer, a man sitting in his apartment eating ice cream. And then a murder in Fort Worth, a lady who was playing video games with her 8-year-old nephew. Now, this police officer that's in trouble, I think his name is Aaron Dean, he's surely gonna catch the brunt of everything. And political activists and black activists and all these other kinds of activists are going to be out to out to hang him. But in particular, Mel, they're looking in this case. They're looking more, and also in Dallas, they're looking more at the entire police department and their culture. We've called it culture of corruption for years. The But Mel, why can't everybody be like that? Why can't we all be treated fair? You know, the
Well,
everybody should have rights to be treated as if on the merits of the individual and not be painted with a broad brush. Go ahead.
I was going to say it. This does have, even though I think part of the issue is this is the second time somebody's been shot and killed within a short period of time. So number two is going to get more reaction, obviously, but
Right.
there are some subtle differences because the first one was an off-duty officer coming home and walking into the wrong apartment.
Right.
And, everything goes south from there.
Mm-hmm.
This one was basically, I've seen it classed as what they call a welfare or a wellness check call. Mm-hmm. There was a call made. The first thing I saw was it was a call made on the non-emergency line.
Right.
Stating that a neighbor's front door was open and the house was dark. So they send these guys out, and we're hearing that it's an SRT team. And from there, he shoots and kills grandma because I guess she was holding a gun. Well, if I were in my house and I was hearing noises outside, instead of going to the front door and announcing themselves, they'd creep into the backyard, So, any homeowner that has a gun is going to grab it and start looking around. And, without announcing himself or saying drop the gun or whatever, she immediately gets shot.
Right.
So, it's a horrible situation. And I would have to say, yeah, I need to blame every officer on that police force and every officer on every other police force where this crap is happening, where people are being abused, harassed, profiled, because it seems to be ingrained in the department.
Right.
They can't say don't blame everyone because we have a few bad apples. Well, I guess if they were doing everything they could to get rid of the bad apples and get them out of those departments, you could go along with that.
Right.
But they don't. They cover up. They have what's called this thin blue line, this brotherhood, and they cover for each other on crap like this.
Mm-hmm.
And that's wrong. That is wrong. We know that in the motorcycle community, amongst the clubs, even the 1% clubs are going through their membership. And if they're discovering anyone that's involved in criminal activity, be it dealing drugs, whatever, they get ejected from the club. The clubs are not standing for it. And even the 1%ers are telling everyone else, the mom and pops, hey, check your members out. If you got a bad apple in there, get rid of them. You don't need it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's being done. That is not being done in the police departments or the sheriff's departments. Not being done at all. That, coupled with the fact that you have this trickle-down effect from the upper echelon within the departments that have allowed for a long time for this crap to go on. They could stop it internally almost immediately because they could say, look, these are the rules of engagement, and if you go beyond this, you will be on immediate suspension and or fired. And they're not doing it.
Right.
They're not doing it. So, it's from the top down, and you got to blame them all.
Yeah.
And now I'm sure there's some nice guys in that mix and the whole bit that are bleeding because of the corrupt system they're employed by.
Yeah. Yeah. And Mel, it's a shame what we're seeing now. But it's like I said the other day, this is ingrained. I expect more of this to happen until they realize this is in the culture of law enforcement, not only in Dallas, not only in Fort Worth, not only in Waco, let's give them a mention, but it's also the same throughout the state of Texas. We see these type of things happening over and over and over again. Now, the Black communities had it.
And rightfully so.
Yes, they have. And so, let's take a look at profiling, for instance. Right now, bikers are feeling the brunt, especially the one club that we all know, the Bandidos here in Texas. They're being profiled every time they turn around. Now, they're painted with a broad brush because this is what we've got going on in Milam County, down where Patrick is being on trial. And he's on trial because of that broad brush. He had a stellar 24-year Army career, a Purple Heart, 2 Bronze Stars, other meritorious awards. He's got gold bars on his uniform, which means he's 24 years honorable service. It's incredible, Bell, but because that broad brush, he's now facing criminal carry charges, even though he had a CHL. And this show is about profiling right now, because I guarantee you that's what happened the night those officers were dispatched to that neighborhood. I guarantee you that they went by the neighborhood, parked on the corner, away from the house, no lights on, goes around that house, snooping around on a welfare check. For you guys that don't know what a welfare check is, it's when one neighbor sees that there's something unusual around their house. They want them to go check out and see if they're all right, not kill them. But it's all started, Mel, I promise you, with profiling. They thought they were going into a bad neighborhood. Guarantee it. Do you think that would happen in your neighborhood, Mel, where Joe Strauss, not Joe Strauss, our Attorney General lives, Ken Paxton?
Oh, hell no.
No. You're the police department would never hear the end of it. They wouldn't go like that. They'd go up and knock on the door, wouldn't they?
Yes, they would.
Guarantee it. So let's talk about this a bit, OG. We got Patrick down in Milam County, who was vetted by the state as a non-criminal, who's now facing criminal carry charges.
Yeah, they issued him a concealed carry permit.
Yeah. So how does this happen? That was asked by a legislator.
Well, our good friend Paul Landers refers to that as the 800-pound gorilla in the room.
Exactly.
This whole thing goes right back to the Patriot Act,
mm-hmm.
which gives government the right to basically strip you of your constitutional rights whenever they feel like it. They need little or no substantiation of anything to do that. Now, it's pretty obvious that Patrick could not have been on any lists prior to this situation. We believe that this DPS officer inadvertently tossed him into the database and then decided he was going to revoke his carry permit on the spot, seize his weapon, and arrest him for illegal carry. So, you've got an entire third world country police state action going on.
Mm-hmm.
And, if this thing is not stopped by a jury, I'll tell you, it's a real head scratcher, because anyone appointed to that jury has got to be concerned for their own well-being and what's going on with law enforcement able to do things like this.
You know what, Mel? The jury doesn't need to be concerned about any bikers. They need to be concerned about the law coming after them.
That's right.
In some way, some fashion. Especially if you believe in your Second Amendment rights. You know, Mel, I take a look at this whole thing, and we're gathering evidence like crazy. And for the next legislative session, we think we're going to have a powder keg.
What is it you were saying? We're now even having difficulty collecting videotape.
Oh yeah,
or camcorder
they don't
stuff from.
They don't want to give up the body cams and the dash cams. They're just telling us hell no right now.
Yeah. And that's public information.
If I don't hear anything by the end of the week, I'll be dialing our lawyers. Because, and that's the reason we're emphasizing, and we did this weekend at the rallies, we were emphasizing the body cams that you can buy really cheap. And for you guys that haven't seen those videos, go take a look at them at our rallies we had this past weekend. It's imperative that you video your interactions with the law. Because in many cases, that's your only protection, your word against his, is if you have video evidence of what they did to you. And like Mel, let's discuss the 30-second blinker for a second. We had a biker that was profiled just the other day, and he put on a turn signal entering the highway. While he was entering the highway, his blinker timed out, and that's when the police officer turned on his lights. This is Grand Prairie, who has announced they're going to stop banditos, any and all club members in and around Grand Prairie, Texas. Well, make sure you got those cameras ready, is all we're saying. At the same time, we're giving you some notification that this is coming.
As much of that is going on in the way they're stopping these guys out on the roads, I'm surprised there has not been a serious injury or fatality at this point.
Right.
It's going to happen.
Yes, it is, because as we've seen, the problem is, one of the problems is here, Mel, I do believe there's no shortage of the GI Joes, the bullies in these police departments and sheriff's departments, and it goes on up to the FBI. I mean, my God, they're trying to take down a president, and that, I don't really understand anymore what their damn job is, and I'm not sure they do.
Well, maybe we're beginning to find out more what it's like to live in a third world country.
Yeah.
Because it's sure starting to feel like one.
Well, they would quickly turn us into one if they get their way. It's where me, you, everybody else out there has got to help put on the brakes, to help put a stop to it, to put common sense back into everything. And that's a lot of what's lacking. All this stuff we're talking about is just common sense. All this stuff we're talking about is, hey, just just don't interfere with our constitutional rights. We want fair play. We don't want to be taken to jail for a traffic stop, for having the wheel over the white line, when failing to give a turn signal, 7 miles over, all
Well,
this
that
other
begs the
stuff.
question, why isn't mom in the minivan being hauled off to jail on a minor traffic violation like bikers are?
The reason is because there would be hell to pay if that was going on with the general public. They've gotten away with vilifying bikers for decades, over 70 years, 70 years, Mel. So they've gotten away with this for so long, vilifying, innuendos, and Mel, they've even gotten by with sending the people to prison. And take Amber Geiger for a second. She murders somebody, she gets a 10-year sentence. If a biker was to do something like that, they'd send him together 40 years in life if they can, off a scant bit of evidence that he did anything, or she. We've seen it. We've seen it happen. And it's time that we be recognized. And like Willie said, hey, we're just like everybody else. We got jobs, we got families, we got stuff to pay for. The clubs don't buy that shit for us. Nobody's out there robbing banks. Hell, Mel, if bikers were as bad as law enforcement claims and committed all the crimes they claim, there's no doubt in my mind we would be in the news every night. Every night. And that's just not the case. For you people that may not be bikers, pay attention to what I'm saying. Because incidents by bikers are far and few between. It's not like law enforcement, who's in trouble across the country on a daily basis for the same crimes they describe bikers as being guilty of. And Mel, why would that be?
Because they cover up for each other.
That's right. They can cover up. The courts give them cover. And Mel, I guess access. It's because they know where all the dirty crap's going on and they see it on a daily basis. But I promise you, it's not with bikers. All the crap they talk about, and they hadn't made a dent in the war on drugs. Not a freaking dent. One reason for that is our politicians, their weak-kneed. They don't have the guts to try and really stop it at its source. Because it's all coming from a foreign country. Multiple foreign countries. And it's right, our appetite for drugs. They're poisoning our citizenry. Anybody that thinks that, I mean, just who in their right mind rides around on their motorcycle with a load of drugs in it? Really? I'm not talking about the pinch of personal crap. I'm talking about the crimes they claim. Drugs, guns, everything else, Human trafficking. That's a favorite one, Mel. I wouldn't know to tell you to get, I wouldn't know to tell you where to get hell to go to find any of these people. And man, we've been around a while.
Yep.
You guys, Patrick is going to go to trial on Monday, this coming Monday. That would be the 21st. I looked at that wrong while ago on the calendar. He's going to be going to trial. We'd like to fill up that courtroom. You guys that can make it, let's take a trip down to Cameron, Texas on Monday. And let's give Patrick some much needed backup. And, you know, let's hope that the citizens of Milan County don't agree with these unjust laws, and that a 24-year, it's hard not to say year old, a 24-year Army combat veteran is treated right and not pay the price for an unlawful law. That's what it is, really. And man, let's talk about our rallies this weekend for a minute. Again, we had a rally and a ride, 2 rallies in one day, one in Tarrant County, which is Fort Worth, Texas, and the other one is Parker County, which is Weatherford, Texas. Now, both these places, Texas is loaded with beautiful courthouses in their counties, and these two are no different. I mean, it was interesting when we first got there, and the police showed up looking for me. So,
looking for you by name.
Yeah, they actually did that. It was, but I mean, you know, hey, my name's on the deal out there. Is the one putting it on, so that's all right. They can look for me. Wouldn't be my first rodeo. And so anyway, they come up and they're talking to us, and they're pretty nice. They're cordial. And I think they spoke to you too, didn't they?
No.
Oh, you didn't?
Well, yeah. When I parked down on the street,
Mm-hmm.
There were a couple of cops that were really looking the bikes over hard, you know, and then so I'm wondering what's that all about. And it turns out that one of them has a bike. He's got a shark nose.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got problems because I guess he's got some turns that he takes there in Fort Worth where the headlight doesn't follow the bike. It keeps going straight out because that doesn't turn like it does on a bat wing.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's left in the dark quite a bit, and he was looking to see if any of us had any LED type lights mounted on our engine guards, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that's what that was all about. But he was pretty cordial.
Yeah.
I got to say, you know, most of the guys we talked to were pretty nice, pretty cordial, pretty low key. I think they were there just in case there was an issue. And of course, we never felt there would be to begin with,
No.
because we know our community pretty well to begin with.
Right.
They kept a pretty low profile. The only one I saw with any attitude was a bicycle cop, and he was giving one of our guys grief because they were trying to help out in an intersection.
Yeah.
And he let him know in no uncertain terms that was his job and he'd take care of it.
Oh.
So whatever, you know,
Don't try and help
But
out. No, hell no.
yeah,
Yeah.
so
They can screw it up bad enough on their own.
yeah. One of them was overheard in Parker County. There were a couple of law enforcement right there at the courthouse amongst the crowd. He was on his cell phone talking to whoever, and they must have been asking him how it was going. And I guess he said, "Well, everything's pretty much okay, and they're not bad mouthing us too bad." So,
Well, he didn't listen.
yeah, he should have waited a couple minutes.
That's right. Yeah. Of course, the red and gold got behind this thing because really they're feeling the brunt of it all. They're the number one targets in the state, and they had a few things to say, and I mean, who can blame them? Because during the 4 years of the Waco saga, the lawyers pretty well
they gagged them pretty
silent.
good.
Yeah, and for the first time, they've been able to kind of speak out. Texas Defenders in Milam County has spoken out, and for you people out there that don't know, Texas Defenders, the COCI, are legitimate political organizations, per FBI testimony. And we've worked within that realm of Texas Defenders for, I don't know, Mel, how long now? About 6 years? Whatever it's been.
Oh, yeah, at least 6.
Yeah. And we walked the halls of the State House trying to work on motorcycle safety issues. And then after Twin Peaks, it got to where we were working on issues that concerned the profiling, and now profiling and gang databases. And we know for sure that there are people in the gang databases that don't belong in them. People that have never committed a crime. It's kind of reminiscent of what's going on in Chicago. Due to our governor and attorney general, we have layers and layers of these gang databases. And Mel, am I right that once you're in them, you're actually labeled a criminal from that point in the eyes of the law?
That's correct. If you've never been charged or convicted of anything, you're still branded a criminal.
Exactly, everybody.
Again, the 800-pound gorilla in the room.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I want to say, stop and say hi a minute to Raymond Miller, Mike D'Angelo, and let me see, who is that? That's Love Yamaha? Well, yeah. Okay. Yeah. He's from Denmark, Mel.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah. So he said he's new to the channel. Welcome, sir. Where was I at, Mel? I'm going to ask
on the other
you.
Side of the fishbowl.
Yeah. But hey, look, it was all a great time getting the information out there. And how can you help? You can help by sharing this program. You can help by coming to one of our rallies. Even the guy from Denmark, hey, hell, come on over. We're going to have some good times. Come to one of our rallies. I think we're waiting for the next thing to happen. And usually we don't have to wait very long. before it's right there in front of us. Absolutely amazing. But it's if you can't do anything else, donate a couple of bucks to TexasBikerRadio.org. It's right there on the front page, a donate button. It takes money to do all this stuff. As we get closer to the next legislative session, we got to have some friends, and that takes money. So we'll work at that, Mel. And you got anything else you want to add?
No, I think that's about it. The only thing I would say is everyone that came to the rally was well mannered. I certainly didn't see anyone get rowdy about anything. When they left, I think the grounds were cleaner than when we showed up.
Mm-hmm.
Again, just a true right-wing conservative type of protest rally.
Yeah.
I'm certainly proud of everyone.
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah. Oh, Mel, let me read this to you. This is Mike D'Angelo. He's in Auckland, New Zealand. Said we had 4 church pastors pulled off their bikes and held at gunpoint until they had photoed the Watchman Christian cut. Now, how rude is that, Mel?
Wow.
We get the same thing over here, sir. We get the same thing. There's all kinds of clubs that are pulled over. It's not just the red and gold. We've had incidences where a guy was pulled over on his way walking back from McDonald's to the local bike shop where he's having his bike worked on. Oh, yeah. That was in Garland, Texas. And we went looking for that particular gang officer. We hadn't ran into him yet. But when we do, I'm going to have some questions for him. Maybe it'll be a quiz to see how well up he is on the real gang information.
He needs to coin a new phrase over there, and they need to start talking about pushing back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because that's what we're doing over here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Start pushing back.
Yeah. Hey, Mr. D'Angelo, form you a group like Sons of Liberty Riders MC. We do political work. We work to save our Constitution. We work to save the rights of bikers. And really, the way we really word it is we are defenders of the Constitution and people who's had their constitutional rights violated. That's our mission. That's what we do. And we do it through various forms, including these rallies. And we have 5 chapters now across the nation, and we hope to grow. We're in each state, there's at least one chapter to help out defend the Constitution and those that have their constitutional rights violated. And bikers are having that done all across this nation, all across it. And we hope and pray at some point all these clubs band together. Put aside your differences. Band together and fight this stuff. Because like the saying is, united we stand, and divided we fall. Or even if we're asleep at the wheel, we will fall. You've got to get involved in some way, whether it's sharing, whether it's attending a rally, voting, or donating a few bucks. It all helps to defend our Constitution and our constitutional rights. Mel, you got any final thoughts?
Nope, that's it. I'm done for the day.
Okay. All right, everybody. I don't have to cut and edit and paste and any of that stuff because we were live. I don't think we made too many mistakes.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, Lord. We'll hear about it if we did. All right, everybody. Have a great day, great evening. Ride safe. Texas, the country, around the world. Bye-bye.